Good morning, friends. We're working on some technical changes. However, we are here, good morning, in the sanctuary. We welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Franklin and to the beautiful mountains of Western North Carolina and Northeast Georgia. We are a lay-led congregation of progressive minds and caring connections where all who come with open minds and kind hearts are welcome. My name is Kallie LeFever, and I am pleased to be your service leader today. I'm joined this morning by Jude Lowery as our Zoom stage manager and music coordinator. We invite you to use the Zoom chat box for announcements. Those who prefer to focus on the service can close the chat box and catch up later. I'll begin with some upcoming UU event announcements. Music Week at the Mountain is April 10th to 15th. Please speak to Robbie if you'd like some more information about that. Women's Spirit at the Mountain, May 18th to 22nd. Please speak to me if you have more questions about that. Susie is at Western Carolina University this year in person, July 17th to the 23rd. Please be sure to check the UU View for the fun and enlightening opportunities we have to be together. As a reminder, all fellowship events use the same Zoom link that you used to join us today. If there are any other announcements, please raise your hand and Jude will call on you to share. Okay, then.
I don't see anyone looking for attention, so.
Excellent. Thank you, Jude. Our fellowship is a light for liberal religion in the mountains that values diversity and the richness that it brings to our community. Our celebration of diversity is reflected in the variety of our Sunday services. We hope today's service enriches your journey. Today, we welcome the participants of the Build Your Own Theology course.
Our opening words this morning, Albert Camus suggested that there is no inherent meaning embedded in the universe. Humans don't find meaning, they create it out of the raw stuff of our own experience. So if the cosmos, history, life have no meaning to discover, we can live so that our lives have meaning. We are the originators. We behold the stars and we write meaning into them. Sandy will now lead us in our lighting of the chalice.
This chalice is lit for you by Tara Humphreys. Whether you are from the South, the East, the North, or the West, whether you were born into this faith, found it, or it found you, whether you feel at home, or you're still trying to find a place, whether you believe in God, are open to mystery, or still have no idea, whether you're unemployed, underemployed, cobbling things together, overworking or in school, whether you're holding grief, confusion, anger, hope, restlessness, or deep peace, Unitarian Universalism has a place for you. It's right here. And this chalice is lit for you.
This morning, our opening hymn is Holy Now by Peter Mayer, who is at UU in Minnesota and performs for congregations across the country.
When I was a boy, Easter week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. Holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath, like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Thank you, Jude. For today's offering, we say in our fellowship that the offering is a sacred sacrament of our free faith. What we mean by that is that we believe it is a blessing to be able to govern and support our religious community ourselves, to make possible by our generosity everything we dream of and do to live out our shared values. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. All gifts of time, talent, and treasure are deeply appreciated. Today, we offer you this Zen parable. A man crossing a field encountered a tiger. He fled, the tiger after him. Coming to a precipice, he caught hold of a vine and swung himself over the edge. The tiger sniffed at him from above. Trembling, the man looked down to where below him another tiger waited. Only the vine sustained him. But two mice, one white and one black, kept gnawing away little by little at the vine by which he hung suspended. Seeing a luscious, ripe strawberry nearby, the man let go of the vine with one hand and held on tight with the other as he plucked the strawberry and brought it to his mouth.
Mindy Simmons was a UU songwriter from Sarasota, Florida, who passed away just recently, way too young and way too soon. This song is part of her credo. Let us keep the people of Ukraine in our hearts as we listen.
When I think about what's going on, oh, I find myself thinking of the babies. See, they don't know that the whole world is going crazy. They don't know of their father's anger, but they'll soon be witness to a life of danger, and they'll grow up in the same oppression, and we'll find their lives reflect their brother's aggression. One world, when will we see? For a peaceful world, we all need unity. One world, what can we do if we will? It's up to me and you. Now I can say each and every day I'm learning more and more about the need to pray. I find myself thinking of the families as their whole world crumbled with the steel and concrete. Yes, they well know what can come of anger, and we all are witness to the fear and danger. But we must grow, and we must be strong, and we've got to find a way to right these wrongs. Into the hearts of those whose views are worlds apart, well, I try to change their minds to see each point of view should be free to without suppression of idea.
What can we?
Ooh, diversity with dignity, peaceful world for you and me. Same earth, same sky, same mountain ranges, same water supply, same stars, same moon, same universe, same human race, one
Gifts given in love and hope continue a cycle of love and hope. For our reflection this morning, I'm Robbie Greenberg, a grateful member of this congregation. Today's message is What Do I Believe? Insight from the Building Your Own Theology class. We'll be hearing from some of the class participants today: Don Erickson, Sandy Erickson, Kallie, LeFever, Bonnie Gramlich, Carl Shope, and Milo Baran. I joined the UU Church 39 years ago for just one reason. I was an atheist who was desperately missing the community that is created around religious organizations. I was thrilled to find that I would be welcome. Building Your Own Theology was offered regularly, so I signed up to find out what this church was all about. And I found that we all had different backgrounds and beliefs, but we were kindred spirits in our quest to learn and grow and respect one another's differences. When I came to Franklin and discovered that Building Your Own Theology had not been offered in many years, I asked if I could facilitate the class. I had no idea how much work was involved, and I was grateful when Don Erickson offered to co-facilitate it with me. Through the 10-week course, I again found that we had many different backgrounds and beliefs, but the same respect for our differences. This course has been a wonderful opportunity for me to rethink my beliefs and get to know members of my new fellowship on a deeper level. And now we will hear from Don. You're up.
Just doing another adjustment here. We'll get this down. Is that good, Warren? Okay. Building Your Own Theology did not provide answers. It guided us through the thought process for each of us to determine the principles we need to guide our life decisions and our actions. In Christian tradition, there are 10 commandments. While the class rejected these commandments, partly because they mostly direct what you shall not do and did not provide direction as what we should do, and partly because we objected to the concept of third-party commandments. But we recognize that we each have values and ethics we use to make life decisions. The course uses the term ethical commandments to represent these values, and it had us each identify 10 ethical commandments to guide our lives. The exercise was insightful. Here are some examples of what we came up with. Be gentle with a sense of dignity. Be kinder than necessary. Respect others in thoughts, speech, and deeds. Joy. Seek it, share it, savor it. To have integrity, my actions even when no one is around. Initiate active connection with the people in our lives. The worth, dignity, and autonomy of all individuals, including oneself, and caring for same. Respect life and the environment that supports it. Be positive, for therein is where the solution lies. And finally, treat with compassion the person you profoundly disagree with. What are the values you use to make your life's decisions? Our resulting lists were personal, influenced by our life's experiences. There were many overlapping values and many different values as our personal experiences and situations differ. We also realized that our values are not constant. They change when our lives change. We all agreed that it is inappropriate to steal. But if your daughter needs life-saving medication and the only way to save her life is to steal it, your values conflict and you must act now. When your country is invaded by a neighbor, your needs, values, actions radically adjust. So we wrote our 10 ethical commandments with a recognition that they are helpful, but they need to be adapted to our life's change. The grand finale of the course was to create our own unique credo. One's credo is based on all the thinking we did to understand our spiritual history, our world tree, as Sandy will soon describe, our 10 ethical commandments, the results of all the lessons, exercises, discussions, and contemplation encountered in the course. It is a statement to be recalled when life changes us and to guide our actions, when life challenges us and to guide our actions. I will read my credo as an example. I believe that our life experience on earth is a one-shot deal. It is ours to do the best we can with. I believe there is a fabric interconnecting all things, like the roots of the trees in the forest, carrying love, caring, sharing, hope, support, joy, and happiness. This fabric is strengthened by the things we think, say, and do. May I reinforce this fabric. Building Your Own Theology reminded us that our credos have meaning only insofar as they are embodied in our actions, in our lives. Some years ago, there was a fad to create "What would Jesus do?" bracelets. A simple reminder worn on your wrist to consider what a person you admire would do in a difficult situation, to help you figure out what you should do. Our credos bring focus to our life's decisions. As you listen carefully to our next song by David Roth, you will hear his credo. Jude, please play.
On the day we're born, a special spacesuit, an amazing thing of flesh and bones, of fibers, tubes, and cells, each one a different shape and size. and it lets us move about the earth with other types of shells. Astounding as it seems, this suit is built to last a lifetime, though the measure of a lifetime seems to change from soul to soul. Some will last for many years and others but a moment, has been assembled with a purpose and a goal. The control box of this special suit's is, and at any given time there's always one that takes the lead, causing all the other parts to follow blindly without question as it tries to give the soul the things it needs. The head or brain will analyze environmental input, using logic, rhyme, and reason to devise the body's plan. The groin, much on the other hand, will travel on its instinct, hooking one suit to another when it can. But somewhere in the middle lies the greatest, grandest feature, often acting as the liaison, connecting part to part. It's the oracle of destiny, the pulse of life, the center. It's the thing we have in common called the heart. The heart, which does so many things, is molded by experience. It starts out very opened up and warm and soft and kind. Depending on the circumstance, it stays that way or changes as it grapples with the groin and with the mind. The mind might try to hide the heart, the shrewd Homo erectus, constructing extra layers of protection and defense. But often this gets in the way and doesn't help connect us, so the groin steps in to try and recompense. But somewhere in the middle lies the greatest, grandest feature, often acting as the liaison, connecting part to part. It's the oracle of destiny, the pulse of life, the center. It's the thing we have in common, the heart. On the day we die, though I'm not sure it's open for discussion, but I believe the spacesuit has fulfilled its earthly chore, providing home and shelter for the fragile human spirit till the time when it's not needed anymore. Then the soul will find another suit. It's kind of like recycling, and though the lessons of the mind and groin aren't lost along the route, it's when we've learned to speak and listen firstly from the heart that our souls won't need these suits to move about. Somewhere in the middle lies the greatest, grandest feature. It's the oracle of destiny, connecting part to part. No sweeter music ever came from any kind of organ as the one we have in common called the heart. We have in common as the one we have in common called the heart.
Bonnie, will you now share some of your insights from the course, please?
Good morning, everybody. What a journey it's been. So for those of you that don't know me, especially, I was raised Roman Catholic. Not a bad thing altogether. I was exposed to radical UU thinking at the First Existentialist Congregation of Atlanta when I was about 38. And that wonderful, warm, honoring exploring experience there for the next 12 years largely formed who I am today. That was also further realized by my participation at SUSE over many years and my 22 plus years now with our fellowship, and also by my working and playing and being at the Mountain Retreat and Learning Center. So when my friend Robbie, who I met at SUSE a million years ago, talked about doing this course, I thought, I don't really need it, but I guess I'll just take it. I was a little curious about really what did I believe, not believe for sure. And I pretty much was sure I was an atheist at this point in my life. And so another reason I almost didn't sign up is because words like God, theology, religion, life everlasting, heaven, hell, the devil, I don't even like those words. And I even sometimes have to tell you, I trip over words like Unitarian, Universalist, because I don't totally feel in sync with all the meanings of those words. So I took this course, and what happened to me is that I read and did which at times required deep focus, which is hard for me, and thinking and feeling. I participated in each of the Zoom sessions. I listened to my colleagues and friends, and I worked with myself to learn and understand honestly more about me and as well as how others think and feel and who did I really want to be. I just wanted to share with you the process for me a little bit. I felt like in each lesson, there were chunks or blocks of some really good stuff that stimulated this learning process for me. I'm very, very grateful for that. It reminded me of what I learned about play therapy when working with young counselor. Ideally, there were lots of items that the children could play with, these young children in their sessions, you know, people, figures, dolls, animals, houses, cars, toys, other things. And they would play and I would ask questions and they would tell me some stories about them. And I realized that asking the right can help further understanding and, you know, what was really going on in that child's life. It felt like some of the pieces and the lessons in this course also enabled me to learn more about myself and what I truly believe. And I will go on to say that some of what I was learning or doing the exercises on, I struggled with. I didn't particularly feel helpful or useful, and even were a little triggering at some points. And I know now that the value in this course is that what is for me may not be for you. So I hung in there with that, and I'm glad I did, because some of the grappling with them proved very useful to me, and hopefully, you know, value to everybody. So some of the things I got from this course, I just wanted to share briefly. I thought I was an atheist, as I mentioned, but now I'm a blend. Most there may or may not be a God. And I've been wasting a lot of time and mental energy over the years of this debate about myself, whether to believe or not. So now I'm very comfortable with it's okay to believe. I don't have to vote on that anymore. It's just way more important about how I live my life. In addition to being agnostic, I didn't really realize I really am in sync with humanism. And my favorite definition of humanism after researching our course is that it's a progressive philosophy of life, that without theism or other supernatural beliefs, it affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives of personal fulfillment that aspire to the greater good. Since getting into psychology at an early age, I really get do no harm, but it goes beyond the do no harm. It is to help the greater good. So those two are big. And then along with them is a general splash of pantheism, which I'm calling, and pantheism is a doctrine that the universe conceived of as a whole is God. And conversely, that there is no God, but bind substance forces and laws that are manifested in the existing universe. So there is part of that for me. I have a lot of awe and mystery surrounding our cosmos, and also down to microcosms of things, the very infinitesimal parts of our universe. It's a wonderful mystery to me. So I wanted to read to you something that hooked me early on in the course, which is from the introduction, very brief paragraphs. It really did help me dive into the course. Here's the first one. We face our theological homework at our peril. Without a deep-rooted theology, this tumultuous world we live in will be full of sound and fury, but signifying nothing. The second one is, religion is that core of meanings, values, and convictions to which we commit our lives. Meanings are the whys of our behaviors and the purposes that explain what we do. Values are the guidelines by which we or I understand our world and act upon it. And convictions are the daily living out of our meanings and values. Not to say that I get it and then I'm going to be this way from here on out, but it's really helped construct and to be able to examine myself when I fail and what I would really like to have done, like looking back on something later. I also learned that religion, the word religion itself is really not a bad word. And I won't go into why it got that connotation for me, but it's a lot to do with some things about the Catholic. But anyway, and of course, all the harm done in the world by religions. The word religion's origins do relate to bind, and they also relate to the word connect, which I think is very powerful for me. Connection is very powerful for me, even and critical, especially in our small congregation and in our world today. But like so many other words, the word religion can be used for good or for ill. I also learned the distinction, and I know you heard Don say the word credo from the word creed. Growing up Catholic, I had to memorize and say often the apostles. I do my best to believe in that. So creeds, you probably know already, are official doctrines and they're to be strictly adhered to. Credos, on the other hand, they're created by us as individuals, and they are organic and they grow as we grow. And when I learned that and went through the process of developing my credo, it felt so good to me. It felt like it was something constructive and like a scaffolding, some things to hang on to, but I had room to breathe. It was real critical for that. So overall, education like this course and participation services is part of my lifelong process. For me, living in covenant with others in our core principles, it helps me to combine reason and the feeling and the will to act. Also makes me very happy. So I feel us listening today and in our congregation and so many throughout our UU and beyond UU community, but we are a multifaceted jewel that reflects and enhances each other and our families and extended communities. Having my own brand now, I'm going to call my own theology brand of UU faith and convictions. In fact, I called it my pot of gold, my personally owned theology. It enlivens me to be the best person I can be, and it energizes me to do what I can to help my UU faith right here in Franklin thrive and grow. I've received so much from my connection with my fellowship community. I honestly have, from people that are present in this session, from people that have passed on recently or a long time ago. value everyone so much. I want us to truly serve one another and let our common experiences brighten our lives and the lives of other people. May we learn together for the good of all on our planet and beyond. Now we'll hear from Sandy.
As Don and Bonnie said, this course allowed for a lot of thinking. And as Robbie said, a lot of discussion, or we got to know each other better. There were multiple activities in each of the 10 chapters, and our facilitators worked really hard to keep us on track for 2 hours per session. And yeah, we had homework. For a change of pace, though, one activity involved drawing. And this is my adaptation of Richard Gilbert's My Religious World Tree. Relax and watch and listen to the video. It'll be available on YouTube if you want to watch it later in the week and do this activity yourself.
Clark?
You're not getting the sound, are we?
Don, can you run it right off your screen, please?
What did she say?
Sandy, is there sound involved in this? Because we cannot hear it.
Don, restart the video and I'll read the text.
I invite you to draw your world tree, or paint or sculpt or whatever media you prefer. Crayons
hearing
and
it.
paper will work. Start with your roots. What nourishes you and anchors you? In the course, participants had been discussing this for 5 weeks already, so take some time with this. Think of the trees that came before you and are now part of the soil you grow in. Your tree has a trunk. If we could view a cross-section of your trunk and examine its rings, what would we see? Dendrochronology is the study of the relationship between climate and tree growth. What are some of the events, the people, the books, the institutions, and more that created the climate that fostered big fat rings and expansive growth? What stresses and drought added narrow rings to your trunk? Draw your branches. What are you reaching for? Where have your older branches taken you? What is growing from your branches? Are you leafy or needly? Are your branches fruitful? We had somewhat different prompts in Build Your Own Theology. Here's my tree based on Gilbert's prompts and my interpretation of them, or my rewriting them in my mind. My roots are deep, and my tree has a solid foundation. My roots have gone in many directions searching for nourishment, and my tree still makes baby roots, seeking new sources of nourishment. My trunk is thick and solid. It has more fat rings than narrow rings. I was lucky my tree sprouted in an environment conducive to healthy growth. My tree is fruitful. Flowers, aka weeds, grow at my base. Native bees, honeybees, and other pollinators are attracted by these weeds and also pollinate the flowers on my tree. Some flowers produce fruit. Some fruit drops off. My tree cannot support all the ideas. My tree puts energy into ripening a few choice fruits. Sometimes the insects of criticism and self-doubt lay eggs in my fruit and spoil it. A few of my branches are dead or broken. Abandoned dreams, wrong path, notwithstanding a storm. Old leaves fall to the ground, contributing to the cycle of decay and rebirth. Birds love to come and sing in my branches anyway. Music is an important part of my life. The sun is necessary for photosynthesis to convert water and carbon dioxide into plant material. The sun warms me. My leaves evaporate water and cool me. In the process, they exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide as nutrients move up my trunk from my anchored roots. Water necessary for that transpiration process. We participants shared our drawings one at a time. Each tree was unique, as yours will be. Some of us added to our trees as we saw what others had drawn. We are building our own theology in community.
Build Your Own Theology. I want to thank Don and Robbie for organizing this class. They did a good job. While Build Your Own Theology did not answer about my philosophy of life, it did move me from a vague understanding of what a life well lived should be to a concrete expression of my personal credo. The time spent hearing other members of the group express their thoughts led me to a better appreciation excuse me, of the intelligence of Unitarian Universalists in general, and at times, the humor of the participants of the program. There was some humor. At the end of the class, there were a few questions that made me stop and think. What are the main obstacles in living these convictions? How does it make a distinct difference in the way I live? What plans are you making to bring your life into line with your newly expressed credo? What will you do differently? On reflection, my journey begun with this class has not ended. Thank you.
Milo was not able to be with us this morning, and he did send in his words, which I will share with you. It's on friendship. We are here today to celebrate community and friendship. Recently, 9 of your fellow UU members embarked on a program entitled Building Your Own Theology, hereinafter referred to as BIOT. The program or endeavor was structured through the use of a textbook, including associated exercises. Within a brief period, 2 to 3 weeks, a serendipitous discovery overtook the 9 members who had subscribed to the buyout program. The adjective serendipitous is used because our program turned in an unexpected and unplanned direction. All 9 of us developed new friendships and enriched existing friendships. Without forethought, we trusted one another. We were willing to risk vulnerability. We were willing to share personal views, beliefs, and feelings about the human condition, about society, and further, about our individual relationships within our society, or particularly within our very small communities. Why was the almost imperceptible transformation from a formal, impersonal exercise to the development of friendships possible? Simply, it was the committed and sensitive leadership of Robbie Greenberg and Don Erickson. Thank you, Milo. Of course, the textbook served as a guide to buyout. Parenthetically, one might say that the textbook would have been more meaningful had we experienced a seminary education. But more importantly, our leaders instilled benevolent discipline and creative approaches to our study, our exploration. As a result, it led to introspection and the development of a personal credo, i.e., a system of beliefs, a doctrine, a creed, which Bonnie said wasn't a creed, but these are Milo's words. Our time with buyout was well spent. We don't have answers, only ideas regarding life's most fundamental issues. We doubt we will ever find satisfying answers. Nevertheless, we 9 persons have constructed a few signposts for understanding ourselves and each other. We made valiant attempts to set forth guidelines for a more fulfilling life. And more than all else, we've made new friends and we've strengthened the ties between and among friends of long standing. Time will tell whether the 9 of us have grown spiritually or philosophically or theologically. Members of this congregation may want to invest a modest amount of time in exploring some of life's mysteries. And now we'll hear from Kallie.
As Milo shared via Robbie, being together for 2 hours a week for 10 weeks created new connections and deepened existing connections. As a new member of this fellowship, I found the experience so wonderful. I always enjoy learning about theology, but using the subject to stimulate personal, vulnerable, authentic conversations with people I've just met was very powerful. Most people spoke about their desire for community as the main reason for joining the fellowship. And this fellowship is especially dedicated to making and deepening connections with the many affinity and social groups. Game night, contemplative dialogue, book club, circle dinner, women's lunch, Monday night service discussion, and Wednesday social time, to name a few. As you've seen, Robbie's interest in sharing something she is passionate about manifested in a wonderful, thought-provoking experience for all of the participants. We encourage you to join in something that exists or create something new. I'd like to thank everyone for helping and working together on this service. And now Sandy will share our closing words.
We evolved our 10 ethical commandments and our credos as we built our own theologies. Paraphrasing, Richard Gilbert left us with a few questions, which Clark also referenced, by which we can evolve them further. Does my theology interfere with my life? Does it build bridges? Does it affect my sense of relatedness to the universe? Does it stimulate or hamper my inner growth? Does it provide ethical guidelines? What are the main obstacles to living my convictions? And what can I do to bring my lived actions into harmony with my ever-changing personal belief system?
As we extinguish the chalice, may the image of the light lead you forward towards examining your beliefs and building your own credo. When we are together, we circle our round sanctuary and join hands for our closing circle and covenant. For now, we will join together in spirit as we recite our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and community is its goal. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So may it be. Jude?
I am in this circle, humble guides, surrounded by the ones I protected. Breathing out and breathing in, and holding all that's fine. Though the world around me shatters, I say, if for just one moment we are still beneath the dark and the dreary, if we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. Just one moment we are still beneath the dark and the dreary, if we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. Breathing out and breathing in, and holding all that's fine. Though the world around me shatters, I stand this time, for I am sitting in this circle with my humble guides, surrounded by the ones I love, protected on all sides.
As you saw, that was Tret Fury. And our service next week will be presented by singer-songwriter Tret Fury. She is a Unitarian Universalist from Newport News, Virginia, a regular attendee at SUSE, Southeast Unitarian Universalist Summer Institute at Western Carolina University. She's a headliner at festivals throughout the country, and she will be the premier concert at the Singer-Songwriter Series this coming Saturday at Holly Springs Community Club at 3 p.m. So Tret wrote and performed the song that was just played. And I hope you will join us next Saturday. And if you cannot, please join us on Sunday when Tret will be our sermon and song. We now finish our recording and pause to move to joys and concerns